Hey, everybody, welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? This episode of Fatso Radio and every episode of Fatso Radio is brought to you by Volpe Martial Arts. Volpe Martial Arts is KW's, that's Kitchener and Waterloo, even Cambridge, even Guelph. Let's loop them all in. Hottest, newest Kung Fu and Hapkido school. My brother, Sifu Adam Volpe, brings you lifelong passion. Hapkido, Korean style, Kung Fu, Chinese style. An amazing fusion brings self-defense. You name it, folks. Discipline, fitness. Check it out, volpemartialarts.com. Folks, tonight, episode number 144, I come to you and bring you a little bit of my advice, a little bit of my testimony, a little bit of my anecdotal evidence about sugar and carbohydrates and my joints, right? If your joints are sore, if you've had pain, this is the episode to listen to. Thanks for tuning in to Fatso Radio. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like and share and the notifications bell. I love y'all. Liz is going to say our theme song. Have a great day. I love you all. Peace. Happy Friday, November 5th. Woo!
Fatso, the really great podcast show.
Fatso, our very first podcast show.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? This episode of Fatso Radio and every episode of Fatso Radio is brought to you by Volpe Martial Arts. Folks, Volpe Martial Arts is KW's hottest, newest Kung Fu and Hapkido school. It's been a couple of years now, but we're still the hottest, and we're probably still one of the newest ones, especially during COVID and all this stuff, but we're doing awesome. My brother, Sifu Adam, brings you his lifelong passion, lifelong skill, and just love of martial arts and love of the community 6 days a week. Check it out, volpemartialarts.com. All right, folks, we're going to get into something similar to my regular train of episodes, regular trade. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, regular theme, I guess. Back to carnivore, back to keto diet. I want to talk about the benefits. I want to talk about why I feel so good and that I actually feel so good. So what do I mean when I say, what are some of the benefits? And I'm going to be specific. One of the biggest benefits I've seen from going keto and even carnivore is even more, or even better from carnivore. It's just basically my health and my pain around joints, right? So how do I say that? Joint pain, joint health in general. The improvements I've seen in my joints have been hard to kind of imagine for me. So I want to lay the groundwork here, or the ground. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm tongue-tied today, but here's the original story. We get hurt. Everybody gets hurt. If you're playing sports, you get hurt. You have injuries. Your joints, your knees, your ankles, your elbows, your shoulders, any kind of joint you have injuries, right? Over the years, our injuries add up. I played football when I was young. I blew both knees out. My shoulders were sore. You're hitting dummy bags. You're hitting the sled. You're hitting other people all the time, right? There's injuries that come up, right? And over the years, my knees have kind of bothered me. My hand has bothered me a little bit. I broke my hand years ago. And I guess what I'm getting at is one of the biggest things, or a couple of the biggest things that have happened, or one of the biggest things that I've noticed with the keto diet, and even more so in the carnivore diet. And the reason why I say even more so with the carnivore diet is because the key factor is sugar in this for me. But when I got rid of 99% of the carbohydrates I was eating, when I got into the keto diet and I felt good and I got into a good stride and I understood it and I learned how to do it, right? Remember, it's not easy. You're not going to start keto tomorrow and lose all this weight in 30 days or 60 days because the guys online are going to lose weight or because there's a million success stories on how to do that. Yes, you can do that, but it takes a while sometimes for some people to learn it. I oftentimes think that like the people who have the biggest struggles with it are the people who probably need it the most. And I was one of those people. I'm still one of those people. Like the struggle isn't over for me because I lost a bunch of weight and I feel great. Again, welcome to Fatso Radio. I'm not a doctor, folks. Great time to remind everybody. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice, but I'm giving you advice, or I'm giving you more than advice. I think it's my own testimony. It's my own experience and kind of my own journaling through this whole thing, right? So one of the biggest things I found with going keto and even more carnivore is that my joints are just not sore anymore. I know that sounds crazy for some people to say, "Oh, you're 43 years old, Carlo. What do you mean your knees don't hurt you anymore, or your elbows don't hurt you, or my elbows didn't really about hurt me too much, but my shoulders definitely hurt over the years, and my knees hurt over the years, and I was even starting to experience some back pain. But I don't have, I mean, the back pain, who knows where that comes? I don't think it's a joint issue, but who knows where that is. But the back pain is gone. My knees don't hurt. Like I blew both knees out. I dislocated both knees, one knee twice, the other knee, or no, sorry, each knee once in football. And, they were hard injuries. I felt them years later, when when I was eating all the regular standard Canadian, standard American diet, but also being overweight, right? I felt it. I felt it in my knees. I felt it in my hands, something like as I'm saying, eating all that sugar and eating all those carbohydrates combined with the weight, it's easy to say, well, of course your knees are going to be sore if you're overweight. And that 100%, that's true. 100% that's true. But not always, right? I'm still overweight, but my knees aren't sore. So I'm not as overweight as I used to be, of course. But the biggest key factor, I think, for me was the removal of carbs. And when I say carbs, there's two main things that helped my joints specifically. Again, this isn't a scientific study. This isn't a peer review study. This is how I experienced the change when I changed my food. I'm not the only one who's experiencing this, but this is my experience and this is my story. When I removed the bread and when I removed the sugar, it's like my joints got greased. And if you think about it, my joints got greased, right? I ate way more fat than I used to. I ate way less sugar than I used to. And a lot of people compare sugar to sand in the joints. Talk to a diabetic and ask them. I know a few diabetics, quite a few diabetics. And one of the things I've heard from at least a good friend of mine, type 1 diabetic, is that makes your joints feel like sugar. When you eat sugar, when you makes you feel like there's sand in your joints when someone has too much sugar, or when they have any sugar for some people. And I never felt like I had sand in my joints for that matter, but I felt like there was just pain, right? There was kind of pain, aches, pains, and there was a lot of pressure. I felt like I had a lot of inflammation, so my knee would swell up, or either knee, or my hand would swell up. The hand that I broke would cause more pain than I would think that it should cause, because even if I wasn't really using it much. But the two things I really think affected me, I don't know for sure, right? But when you do something for a while and you see a big change and you go off of it and that change disappears, right? Or that benefit disappears. You go for a while and you do something and you see a great benefit, and then you make a change, the same change that you just made, and you can kind of do a very home scientific approach. You just be as controlled as possible. Control for every factor you can, or as many factors as you can. And so for me, it's bread and sugar. When I removed bread, I don't know which one's more powerful, the removal of bread or the removal of sugar. It's probably a combination, because bread essentially is sugar. It's carbohydrates. Most of it is carbohydrates, right? There's protein, of course, in there. There's negligible fat in there. And the protein in there is what gives a lot of people problems. Not everybody, and not everybody in the same amount or the same dosage, right? But devil's in the dosage, remember? And for me, maybe it was a combination of eating bread, a lot of bread for a long, long time, and being overweight, and also eating sugar, and also alcohol, which is sugar. Alcohol is fermented sugar, essentially what it is, and some people refer to sugar as just non-fermented alcohol. I mean, you can say it either way you want, but those things are definitely going to hurt. You're going to hurt your joints, and that's what I found. So when I removed the bread, I started noticing my joints weren't hurting as much, even before the weight loss. Like it was amazing, doing things that I would normally do. Like, for example, I want to say back in maybe 2005, 2006, maybe 2007, I was playing squash. I was playing squash with my brother. I was playing squash with whoever I was working with at RIM, whoever wanted to play, a Blackberry, whoever wanted to play, let's go play. And I would play, I was, 270, 280 pounds at the time, running around. Yeah, I could still do what I could do. I played football at that weight, so I could still move around pretty good. I was always, people say, you move good for a big guy. Great. I took that and I accepted it. So I could still move good, right? But my joints would always be sore. My shoulders would be sore after. My knees would be sore. Knees and shoulders are probably the most common thing that I hear from my buddies, the guys who played football with, or the guys who played baseball with, or the guys who I played whatever sports with. It's knees, right? Knees and and knees and shoulders is what my most common thing was. So I found the biggest benefit when I removed the sugar, removed the carbohydrates, specifically the bread and wheat. I'll just say wheat because I really started equating to like gluten. You know, sure I could lose weight by not eating gluten, but also gluten probably because for the initial reason why it caused weight gain, but it really lowered my inflammation, lowered my gut inflammation, lowered, and I think the gut inflammation is the key. I absolutely think it's the key because if your gut is not inflamed and if you're not having a hard time digesting whatever you just ate, um, then you're going to be okay. And I think what happens with for people, and again, I'm not a doctor, folks, but for people that have issues with gluten, people that have issues with just wheat in general, or complex carbohydrates, sorry, in general, I think what happens is their guts get inflamed. And when your guts get inflamed, you literally have leaky gut, right? And leaky gut is not a woo-woo bullshit thing. You know, initially when it was talked about, it definitely came across that way, and a lot of people thought it was bullshit. It's not bullshit. Your gut is not supposed to leak everything through it. It's supposed to leak certain things through it, you know, pass certain things through the membrane. But really, your gut and your digestive system is supposed to be a closed loop, they say, right? Where it's just a one track, rather. Maybe not closed loop's not the best. No, closed. It's not a closed loop, but it's a one kind of a track, one entrance and one exit. And it's not supposed to be, but it's a closed system rather. It's not supposed to be where you eat something and it just goes to the rest of your body. No, there's certain veins, certain channels, and certain basically off ramps of highways that where your food, where the nutrients that you eat the nutrients that you eat in the food, or the nutrients that are contained in the food, that's how they get to your body. So when you eat some food, it goes to your stomach and it gets digested. It gets started and digested in your stomach if it's meat, if it's fat, and it moves down, you know, your small intestines, and then that's where it actually starts getting absorbed. The nutrients get absorbed through the small intestines, blood vessels and channels, and blood vessels take the nutrients out, you know, and veins take the nutrients out to other parts of the body. But when your guts are inflamed, when your gut is inflamed, your digestive system, your intestines are inflamed, or there's something causing that inflammation, right? Then it can be susceptible to leaky gut. And with leaky gut comes a whole host of basically flare-ups that people can attribute to almost any autoimmune issue, right? Not every autoimmune issue, but all of the most common autoimmune issues, people are saying that they're getting better. They're feeling better when they're removing the grains, the gluten. They're feeling better when they're removing the sugar. And I'm definitely one of those people. Arthritis is an autoimmune issue, right? Arthritis isn't something that, it's just not something that happens just because you use something a lot. I know that sounds anti-medical, or one that probably sounds like it's against what we've been taught, or, you know, what maybe even feels natural because we've been taught this for so long. But you don't just get arthritis because you move your hand a lot. You don't just get arthritis because you move your knee a lot, right? Not everybody gets it. If you just got it from just because of the frequency, then everybody who did this 50,000 times, or, you know, whatever, anybody did an action the same amount of times will get it. And that's not the case. Everybody's a little different. And why is it? Who knows? Genetics, sure. What you eat, yes. Your lifestyle, yes, right? That all takes effect, or that all is part of it, I think. And I think the real factor, for me at least, and I wonder if it is for you, let me know, fatsoradio@gmail.com. I think the factor for me, and I'm starting to know now, right? After a while, years now, 5-6 years of doing this now, I get what works for me and I get what doesn't work for me. And I know what flares up my joints. I know what makes my joints just hurt. I know what makes my muscles hurt as well, which is interesting. I know if I don't have certain things, my muscles are weaker. My muscles are not as strong, quite honestly. One of those things, not to go too far off content, but off topic rather, is water. If I don't have enough water, I'm not as strong. I'm not as strong as I should be. If I don't have enough salt, I'm not as strong as I should be. Salt is even more of a factor for me than water. Water is great and I need that water. But with salt helps you keep that water, right? And I know it's kind of counterintuitive because we've been told our whole life, don't have too much salt, it retains water. Folks, when you don't have sugar, and you don't have sugar in the amounts specifically as you used to, or as I've used to, your body needs that water. And your body, especially if your body, I have a theory that my body was used to all that water for so long that it still needs all of that water. And I think maybe it'll take a few years, maybe a decade, for my body to really adjust to just needing less water, but I think I still need it, and I definitely know I need the salt. It's interesting. There's a lot more sodium in all of the food, all of the packaged food, all of the processed foods than you would ever think. And when you go away from, or when you get away from that, or at least when you try to get away from that as much as possible and have things like just meat or just eggs and meat, there's not a lot of sodium in eggs and meat, and you need to add sodium. You need to add sodium to anything you're drinking. Another thing that I found with removing the sugar, right, that helps, and removing the carbohydrates, that helps with my joints. One of the things that I found that actually, switch topics for a second, around, not from switch topics, but move over to the muscles. And one of the things that I found with going carnivore and with going keto, but specifically with carnivore, is that once I started reducing the carbohydrates to a minimum, then I really needed to add the salt. I really needed to add more salt and more water as well. If I didn't, I would actually have cramps, right? So I would experience muscle cramps in my legs, and I still get those muscle cramps in my legs if I don't have enough water. And it's so stupid. It's so stupid that it's so stupid of me that I have to remind myself to drink water. And I know a lot of people are like that, but I think it's actually more the salt than the water, because I actually took a salt pill today and I didn't experience any cramping at all. When I was walking with Canada Post last year, when I was walking all those kilometers, summer, winter, whatever, I learned quickly that if I had salt, it would help me. It would help me retain that water, especially if you're sweating, right? If you're working out and you're walking 10 kilometers a day or 15 kilometers a day, or whatever it is, that was when I was delivering the mail. You need to replenish your water, but you also need to replenish your sodium. It's so important, not just sodium, your potassium, your magnesium, your manganese, all your electrolytes, iodine, chloride. Iodine, sorry, is not an electrolyte, but chloride and chlorine is, so those are important. And it's weird because you don't realize that, but I guess it makes sense when I think about it. Sure, I was retaining water for all those years, so I had plenty of water. Okay, not healthy to retain water all those years, but now I've learned through salt and water combined is the best combination to stay hydrated, quite honestly. And it's not even just the walking, right? My new job, I'm making salami all day, I'm making capicola, I'm making prosciutto, I'm making all the different Italian cured meats, and you're working, you're lifting muscle, you're using muscles that I haven't used in years, and I'm using muscles that I have used, but it's a physical job. It really is. And it doesn't matter what kind of physical job you have. If it's physical, like I said, it doesn't matter what kind of physical job you have, but if it is physical, you need to keep that in mind. You need to keep that in mind, especially when you're on this diet, because if you're doing it well, you're not retaining water, right? You're not doing the things that we didn't want to do. Remember, sugar actually retains more water than salt. So if you're doing it right, you definitely need to add some salt, whether it's just heavily salt your food, or whether you need to take a salt pill or salt drinks, or there's everything from Element, Rob Wolf's company, there's all different competitors out there, but Element's probably the best. Rob Wolf's one of the most brilliant minds in this space. Check it out, robwolf.com. Or lmnt.com, I think. It's been a game changer for me. And it's funny because if I go, it's kind of a double-edged sword, not double-edged sword, but it's, if I go off my diet and I go just eating crappy food or whatever it is, I'll gain weight, I'll feel bloated, my digestive system won't be as good, but my muscles won't be cramped. Like it's so crazy. I'm like, what's the trade-off? Well, the trade-off is feel better, don't have the bloated, don't have digestive issues. Just make sure you drink salt, eat salt and drink water, or drink salt water, whatever it is. But it's one of those things that it's kind of it messes with your mind when you've been struggling with this new way, and you've had to have a certain protocol to make sure that you're in tip top, as far as tip top I can be, right? My optimal state. And then I just go off my diet for Halloween or whatever it is, the holidays. And then, for a week or whatever, I'm bloated and I'm, but my muscles aren't sore. I don't know what's worse, having digestive issues or having muscle cramps. I'd take the muscle cramps because I know how to fix those. The digestive issues, I mean, the only way to fix it is the only way to fix digestive issues for me is to fast. No food. And that's also the best way for me to cleanse, and best way for me to detox. That's, in my opinion, that's the best way for anybody to detox. Your body has a natural way to detox. Your organs in your body, your liver, your kidneys, they are your detox organs, right? You have other organs in your body too that are responsible. Your brain is responsible in part to detoxifying your body. And your body goes through a detoxification process every night, essentially, if you sleep enough. But more than that, if you fast, your body goes through even more deep cleansing. And it's very healing. Like, I can't tell you, I don't know for sure. I didn't test it. I have no scientific peer-reviewed data for you, but I'm pretty sure that fasting has kept me healthy. Fasting, whether it was during the winter when I was walking, whether it was during the summer when I was walking, whether it's just, fasting from 6 o'clock to the next morning, I believe it's keeping me healthy. I believe it's keeping cancer at bay or away or whatever you want to call it, at bay, I guess, controlled. I believe it keeps my mind clear. It's the ultimate way to get into ketosis, right? First of all, you should wake up in ketosis, but if you haven't woken up in ketosis, just don't eat. You'll get into ketosis. It's not easy to start, but what's easy? What in life is easy and really, really good for you? What in life is easy and the best thing for you? Nothing. You'll never find, I don't think anyway, I've searched. Folks, I am the king of searching for easy things. I'm the king of searching for quick things. I'm the king of just searching now. Because I've done that for so long, I realize the value in the long game. I realize that I'm old now. I'm not old. I'm 43. It took me a long time to realize something that I should have learned when I was younger. And a lot of young people know it. A lot of young people don't. It doesn't matter whenever you learn it, but you got to learn it. The value in the long game, the value in building step after step, piece after piece, your way up the ladder, your way up the stairs, every floor of the building, whatever analogy you want to use, it's building your foundation and then building upon it. I was talking to my wife about it the other day, and I still do the 20-20-20, right? 20 push-ups, 20 crunches, and 20 squats every morning. I've done it on and off for about 4 or 5 years now. And one day one of my buddies commented, like, "Holy shit, Carlo, I don't know how the hell you can be consistently still doing these push-ups." They're like, "I haven't done anything, for a year straight, let alone push-ups." And I laugh at myself a little bit about it, because I like to make a joke with that. This is the only thing that I can keep up every single day. And it's funny because the fact that I push myself every day, it's not a lot. It's not 20. It's still difficult for me sometimes, right? It's still difficult for me because it's the first thing in the morning. It's, even if I could do 100 push-ups, which I can't right now, but even if I could when I get up and do 20 push-ups, I struggle. You wake up, you're tired, you don't want to do it necessarily, but you got to pump myself up. The fact that I do that's my attempt at consistency. That's getting a little warm with this here. That's my attempt at consistency. That's my attempt at that foundation. That do it, Carlo. Just do it. Just put it in. It's going to be good. Just put it in. It's going to be good. Put that time in. Put those 20 push-ups in. Put those 20 crunches in and those 20 squats in. And again, I always say this, and I hope I've never forgot to say this, but if it's one push-up, if it's two, if it's the walk around the block, whatever it is, consistency is so good. And for so many reasons, I can do a whole episode on why it is good. But one of the couple of the reasons for me is that, or like I said, it keeps me going every single day. It's also good for, I think it's in a healthy way. It's good for my ego, because it's something very small, right? Very small, but I can be proud of it. And I am proud of it. And it's not something that I can feel bad to feel proud of it. You know what I mean? If you grow up with that idea that, pride is a double-edged sword, right? Then you may understand what I mean by this. But I've always kind of had an issue with being really proud of something, right? Because I don't know. I just, maybe I never felt like, pride's a iffy thing. But anyway, this is one thing that I feel okay with, because I don't feel like it's boasting. I don't feel like it's bragging or being proud that I have money, or being proud that I look a certain way, or anything like that. What I'm proud of is the idea that I can just do anything at all every morning. That's it. Anything at all That's not bad for me any morning, because I can do something not good for me every day. Of course, I can do something not good for me every night. I can do something good for me 3 times a day, 4 times a day. I can eat bad stuff. I can drink alcohol. I can smoke cigarettes. I can smoke marijuana. I can smoke anything. I can do anything. It's very easy to do things that are bad for you. And I think it's okay, at least for me, it's okay to be proud of something that you're doing for yourself, and it's good for yourself, right? I mean, you can have a drink every night and you can be proud of that, I guess. But whatever. For me, it's this, like I said, it's just every single morning, and I post it every single morning. I love you. Good morning, guys. Boom. Here's my 2020. Let's get it. And I don't know. I feel really good about it, and it keeps me going. And just to wrap this up with the whole sugar and the whole, not to go too far off topic, but the whole, the joints feel good and everything. This adds to it as well. When if I'm feeling like crap, if I've eaten really bad food for me, and the food that doesn't go well with my body, I'll feel it the next morning. My push-ups are harder, my crunches are harder, my squats are harder. Even if I've done this for a year straight, 20 push-ups every morning, 20 crunches, 20 squats. Even though I've done that, it's still harder if I've eaten sugar the day before. Imagine that. It's still harder if I've eaten pasta the day before, or bread the day before. Bread's even worse than pasta for me. Something about the yeast, I don't know. But it's worse for me. So, it's not about being perfect, and it's not about never falling off, or it's about never, straying, or swaying, or whatever you want to call it. It's not about that. It's about it's about realizing, first of all, and identifying when I feel my best, and then trying to understand why I feel that way. And from a food perspective, it's when I eat what I now know is optimal food for me. Optimal food. I really mean that. I think I figured out for me what's the optimal food, at least in this stage of my life, right? I hope that I can keep this up. Maybe as I get older, it'll change, but I don't think it's going to change, because there are numerous accounts of people online and around the world. That's one of the good things about the internet today, is you can do a little bit of a sanity check sometimes, right? There are 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds doing the carnivore diet and feeling like they did when they were 20 and 30 and 40, they say. I'm in my mid 40s, 43. At times I feel like I'm in my 20s. In fact, at times I feel better than I'm in my 20s, because in my 20s, I was 300 pounds and I was in bad shape. And even though I still played sports and everything, it hurt. It hurt. And when it hurts, like, I know you guys listening, I know you guys watching, I know some of you know what it feels like to just hurt walking around, or hurt sitting for a few minutes, or hurt when you're working in a job that was not supposed to hurt you, right? But when you get up, it hurts. Why? First of all, sitting at a desk, it never felt natural to me. It felt comfortable because I was lazy, but it never felt natural. And once I started taking care of my health a little bit, the first thing I did was get up and walked. First thing I did was get up and walk around, walk at lunch, walk whenever I could walk. And quite honestly, I took advantage of it. I tried to walk whenever I could. If I needed a 5-minute break, I'm going to go walk. And it was good because it got me up and it got me moving. We need to move. We need to breathe. We need to eat good food. I think that's enough for tonight, folks. Thanks so much for listening. Remember, try this. It's not controversial. It's not going against anything, but try cut out bread. Try to cut out complex carbohydrates and sugar, and let me know how your joints feel. Let me know how your muscles feel. If you're going to carnivore diet, keto way, and you're having some muscle issues, drink water, but also take the salts, take the magnesium, take sodium is your primary electrolyte. It's the master electrolyte. It's going to control your other electrolytes down the cascade. It's going to control your potassium levels. It's going to control your sodium, potassium, magnesium, manganese, chloride. It's going to control those because it is the master, and it'll buffer, and it'll pull from other resources, and calcium as well as another electrolyte. So, folks, thank you for listening to Fatso Radio, episode number 144. Yes, thank you for tuning in to all the episodes. If you have, thank you. If this is your first time, welcome to Fatso Radio. Again, folks, Fatso Radio is a podcast, a YouTube channel, a voice in the ether dedicated to explaining and sharing my journey, everything I've learned, everything I think, everything I feel, and just how I feel and how I think about all of this, and just the real life struggles, right? if you've been following along, you know that I struggle. You know that this is real. This is not, yeah, there's a green screen, but this is real. What you see is what you get. I'm honest. I make mistakes all the time. I learn from those mistakes. I'm getting good. I'm getting really good at learning from my mistakes. Unfortunately, I just have to make more mistakes to learn. I know that sucks. But you have to make more mistakes. And I think it's about experimenting. It's about taking a chance. And I love you all. Thank you so much for listening and watching Fatso Radio. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you will be alerted. Share the word, folks. This is just me, Fatso Radio. I'm Carlo Volpe. Thanks for tuning in. I love you all. Peace. Fatso Radio. Now Violet's going to say thanks for listening and thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I love you all. Peace. Let's say bye to everybody. Bye. And we'll say thanks for listening. Say thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.